Hello, peeps. Welcome to another P to the fourth power podcast. Today's podcast is going to be again on lesson 3.3, solving multi-step equations. But before we get to our notes, if you guys would, please make a note in your spiral. Tonight's homework is to do workbook page 23, problems 5 through 8. Homework tonight, workbook page 23, problems 5 through 8. Just a friendly reminder. Can't say that the crazy math teacher didn't tell you so. Alrighty, please write in your notes, homework spiral, lesson 3.3, multi-step equations, part 3. Let's roll. A quick review. We said in our last podcast, if you want to get rid of one fraction in an equation, you would multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 3 over 2 would be 2 over 3. We would multiply both sides by the reciprocal 2 over 3. But the question becomes, how do we work an equation that has several fractions? OMG! How do we get rid of several fractions in the same equation? Well, we're going to get it so that we channel our inner peace. So, here we go. If you would, please write down the problem. 3/4 minus 1/2 equals -1/8. So I'm going to highlight my minus or negative signs, and don't forget your dog. Ruff, ruff, follows you everywhere you go. So here we go. When you have an equation with several fractions, let's find the common denominator. Remember, your denominator is the number on the bottom. Good job. So I'm going to find the common denominator between 4, 2, and 8. If I count by 4s, and I count by 2s, and I count by 8s, I find that my common denominator is going to be 8. So my common denominator between 2, 4, and 8 is 8. So please write down that your common denominator is 8. Well, geez, Mr. Phillips, that's nice. How does finding the common denominator help me? Very good question, young grasshopper. Wait, and I show you. Since the common denominator is 8, I will multiply every term by 8. So the first term is 3/4 x. I'm going to multiply 3/4 x by my common denominator, which is 8. In order to do that, very good, we are going to make this a fraction. Denominator of 1. Now, I'll simply do top times top, bottom times bottom. Multiplying fractions ain't a problem. When I do 8 times 3, that will give me 24. When I do 1 times 4, that will give me 4. And remember that your rooster follows you everywhere you go. 24 over 4 really means 24 divided by 4. 24 divided by 4 gives me 6, and my owl follows me everywhere I go. So 24 over 4x is 6x. Put a circle around it or put a square around it. We're going to come back to it. Since a common denominator is 8, I will multiply every term by 8. So now I'm going to multiply my -1/2 by my common denominator, which is 8. Just like I did before, bada bing, bada boom, make it a fraction by giving it a denominator of 1. Now, you got it. Top times top, bottom times bottom. Multiplying fractions ain't a problem. 8 times -1 is going to give me -8. 1 times 2 gives me 2. This really means -8 divided by 2. -8 divided by 2 equals -4. put a circle around it, or a box. We'll come back to it. Since the common denominator is 8, I will multiply every term by 8. I'm going to multiply my last term, negative 1 over 8, by my common denominator, you got it, of 8. Bada bing, bada boom. Make this a fraction. You got it. Top times top, bottom times bottom. Multiplying fractions ain't a problem. Tired of it yet? I am. 8 times negative 1 gives me negative 8. 1 times 8 gives me 8. This really means negative 8 divided by 8. Bada bing, bada boom. That gives me negative 1. Here's the thought. Now, let's write everything that is circled in green. So, I have a 6x, I have a negative 4, and I have a negative 1. So I'm going to rewrite 3/4 x as 6x. Where did I get it from? Right there. Remember, there's my 3/4 x. I did all this work, bada bing, bada boom. That gave me 6x. Now, I'm going to rewrite the negative 1/2. There's my negative 1/2. I did all the work. Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. Gave me negative 4. So there's my negative 4. There's my negative 1/8. There's my negative 1/8. I did all this work. Got a negative 1. There's my negative 1. Whew. This is so much easier to work with. I don't want to have to work with all these fractions. There we go. I can handle this to channel my inner peace. Can you? Now, simply do hearts and stars. You are going to get your stars together. When you go across the line, what do? Very good, boys and girls. You do the opposite when you go across the line. The opposite of subtracting 4 is to add 4. Whatever you do to one side, very good, boys and girls, you do to the other side. These will, excellent job, cancel. A negative 1 and a positive 4. Did you say positive 3? You're so smart. Write the rest of the problem. Did you say that when they're touching each other it means multiplication? Very good. Did you say the opposite of multiplication is division? The game makers are going to hate you, but Mr. Phillips is going to love you. These will cancel. You're left with 3 over 6. If you simplify that down, you should get 1/2 or 0.5. I'm thinking 1/2 or 0.5. Don't let the game makers trick you. This is a negative 1/2. There you go. Now you have channeled your inner peace.